Shh, it's okay. Commander can't hurt you while you're with me. Welcome to the Thoughtcast, a powerful magic podcast. I'm your host, Lewis.
And I'm your host, Ian.
Today we have a pretty mainstream talking point, honestly. I'd say that most podcasts have this episode. It might just be like a rite of passage. I don't know. I think that Commander is a great format.
I would have to agree. It's probably
It's like the Brewers format.
It is one of the best things to come out of Magic the Gathering, right?
It's one of the best things to come out of Magic the Gathering players.
Yeah.
Like, we made it, dude. Mm-hmm. This was us, all right? We all played it. We made it the biggest format, and now it's our fault, you know? Mm-hmm. So, I think Commander is a great format. So, what problems do we have with it? Well, I have a plethora. I have many. I have so many problems. But the main one stems from the fact that it is the Magic format. Mm-hmm. You know, every single player, except for, maybe the tournament grinders, they all have a Commander deck. Every one. Because if you show up to your LGS and you want to play on a night that isn't specifically standard or whatever, mm-hmm. you have to have a Commander deck or nobody's going to play with you.
And I think that's part of the fun of it, right? Because, you can bring a Commander deck anywhere and you can get a game of Magic in.
Sure.
That's one of the best things that came apart because of Commander.
Yes, I agree that being able to play Commander with anybody who plays Magic the Gathering is great, but I also would rather play other formats.
Yeah, sure. I am with you. I would love to be able to play Standard more consistently, or
Canadian Highlander,
or Modern, way maybe. More consistent.
I think I would rather 60 card formats, even if it is Modern and Pioneer, be more of a forefront than Commander.
Pauper.
Yeah.
Pauper's been getting a little more popular.
Yeah, I'd say that Pauper is really popular for underground formats, you know what I mean? I'd say it's maybe the forerunner of those underground formats, right?
Yeah.
Because just about any Magic player who's been playing for over a year knows what Pauper is, mm-hmm. right? Because it's that format, but nobody plays Pauper, you know what I mean? That's not a dig at anybody who plays Pauper, because obviously there are people who are, but everybody plays Commander.
Get more events running for Pauper, please.
Yeah, and in comparison to how many events run for Commander, Standard, and Modern, nobody mm-hmm. plays Pauper. You know what I mean?
I do hate a couple of game stores that do. On FNMs, they don't even draft or do sealed or do Standard or do Modern. It's just FNM is
Standard
Commander
and
night.
Maybe Commander.
They have Commander night on Tuesdays,
Thursdays,
Wednesdays,
Saturdays,
Thursdays.
Sundays. Oh, don't forget Monday Commander night and Wednesday,
Wednesday, no Monday Modern.
Those days that end with Y, always having Commander nights,
And it is cool.
I do like getting my Magic fix. It's nice.
It is nice, but there is a lot of gripes with Commander right now specific. As much as this was a player-made format
and problem,
as soon as WotC started giving the people what they want, right?
Yeah,
Commander-made cards. You could argue that's what they figured they wanted.
But let's say it started 10, maybe 8 years ago is when they started really making cards for Commander.
And that's fine, as long as they weren't busted as hell in Standard, in Modern.
Yeah. And Modern has always had stupid cards in it. Mox Opal's been around longer than I've been playing this game, dude. It's always been a problem. I'm just saying that, there's a certain level of busted that comes with Commander cards because they're meant to keep up with 3 other players a lot of the time, or at least impact 3 other players, right? Or propel you against 3 other players. Whatever the fact is, it's against 3 other players, you know? So the main problem, let's do a little brief timeline, okay? Back in 1990, no, I'm kidding. So Commander first started releasing product in 2011, but when we say design cards for Commander, we mean back in 2011, those cards were totally fair. All things considered, they were holding back by a long shot compared to what they do now, I don't think there are many game changers in those decks, for instance,
Cyclonic Rift?
They're actually kind of bad. The Kali of the Vast deck, sure, it could put in, I don't know, Lord of the Pit on turn 5, but who gives a shit? What we mean when we say design cards for Commander, we're talking I don't know, what is the 3-mana 2/2 Menace Haste when it attacks, sack an artifact? Broadside Bombardiers.
Yeah.
Ruins formats, you know what I mean? It just ran all over the place, and it was okay, Haste and Menace, kill any creature.
3 mana?
3 mana?
For all that. So it's they're putting more words on cards to make up for the fact that you have 3 players to get through.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that in general, like as Magic goes on, power creep is inevitable.
Yeah, no, I'm not against power creep at all.
But that kind of power creep is like kind of nutty.
Yeah.
And I just looked, I got the Aragorn pre-con and I was looking through it to get like 4th Aerlingus, the Aragorn card for our Canadian Highlander decks.
Yeah.
And there's like, they were pretty tame compared to the Final Fantasy Commander deck that just came out with a turn 3 win.
Yup.
Like, not trying to say that like you can't win fast in Commander, because it is fun when you do attempt. Maybe not fun when you do actually win.
Yeah. I'd say that Commander as a format has so much social implication that it ruins the format for a lot of people. I am included in that. That's like the main problem, I think, is that, so I have this big Venn diagrams 2. Right? This is like a flower diagram, okay? In the center is Magic the Gathering, okay? And let's say that all the other circles are the things that Commander is doing to Magic the Gathering, right? The first is social implication, okay?
Yeah.
People start playing the game through Commander, and they think that your opponent has to be nice to you. One, your opponent never has to be nice to you. They have to be nice to you as a person, that's fine. I'm saying in the game, all right? That is one of the worst social implications that has ever come to Magic. It's like, oh, you killed my creature, I hate you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get over yourself.
It's been like talked about as like recency bias and all that.
Sure.
Like
whatever it is, people for some reason think it's okay to take that to draft and to modern and to standard, right? I'm sure you've played against people. This has happened to me in like draft, where the players are like, "Why'd you do that?" And it's like, you're literally my only opponent.
I removed your threat on board, and you're getting mad at me. That's actually
happened to me.
Like,
Has that happened to you?
No.
Okay, so I don't know who this guy was. It was at one of our local game stores, and there was this guy, I don't know, older than me, okay? And I killed his, I remember this. It was in Dominaria United Draft. I killed his wall, the wall that like taps to drain people. Yeah. With, it wasn't cut down, it was one of the 2-mana removal spells in that format, I don't know. And he got angry at me. He was like, "Why did you do that? You can't just do." He didn't say you can't do that, but he was like, "You can't be doing that or whatever." And hey, guys, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's the Magic in 1v1 is inherently competitive,
right? Like, don't be a dick.
Yeah,
but like in the game, you can be a dick. Like that's totally okay.
That's how you win. If you were nice to your opponents in game, they would probably steamroll you. Yeah, but it's.
Like, people have always not liked blue, for instance, but for some reason, Commander players think that countering your spell is just so much worse than using removal on it. It's like, oh, you used counterspell? I never even got to do my thing? That's crazy. But with it on the stack, my ETB on the stack, you stifled it, and then Swords to Plowshares, not even as bad, right?
That's why you play Eldrazi, for the cast trigger.
Stifle. Oh, I hate blue. You spent 7 mana on a fucking kill everybody card. Shut up. You know,
farewell all modes.
I'm not even like the biggest blue player or everything. I do love blue in 1v1, but in like Commander, I don't know. Blue's fine. I don't know. It's not even that fucking bad, dude. Okay, that's one of the Venn diagram sections. Okay, the other is power creep, card market, cost of cards, cost of sets, creating of sets. Okay, they make sets for Commander every time now. Okay, there was not a single set they have made in the past, I don't know, 5 years that wasn't directed at Commander players, okay?
Murders
even
at Karlov Manor.
Yeah, even Modern Horizons, okay?
Yeah.
3 was a Commander set. Through and through, every card was for Commander, okay?
It's really weird how
I don't care what you say. They're like, oh, Necro Dominance? That card's definitely for Modern. We have 40 life in Commander. What are you talking about? A life-paying card is always for Commander, especially when it's made that busted, okay? Whatever. Commander decks. They had Commander decks for Modern Horizons 3. Are you fucking kidding me?
That was insane levels of delusion on their part.
And like, for instance, I think that Commander being the forefront, being the biggest format, is what makes them able to make Universes Beyond sets, right? Yeah. They never would have been able to do this dumb shit with Final Fantasy with the 20 legends if they didn't have a format directed around legendary creatures, okay? People would have been like, okay, and not cared. But because they're all legends, everybody's like, oh my god, I can make a Commander deck with Bird, you know, like that's not necessarily, again, these aren't necessarily all bad, it's just what it is, basically, right? I have a problem with it, but you don't have to have a problem with it, it's just the truth, right? They make sets for Commander players. almost every card is made with Commander in mind, except for draft commons, of course. Those are, even some of those.
Those are for me.
Even some of those though, like Black Mage's wand, still better in Commander.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, Final Fantasy gripes aside, in general, this whole idea of legendary creatures and Commander is just better for them to make not Final Fantasy, Universes Beyond stuff. They've already spoiled Ong.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Or Aang, however you guys want to say it.
I avoid Magic the Gathering spoilers as much as I can, so I hate it when my feed just like immediately, boom, Aang.
But this is, what, 4 or 5 months in advance?
Maybe a year? Because I think Edge of Eternities comes out in 2 months.
Yeah. I thought.
Then Spider-Man comes out beforehand.
It's Spider-Man, yeah.
And so it's not even...
Edge of Eternities comes out in less than 2 months.
Yeah.
But either way, that's one, still crazy, and two, it's going to be directed at Commander players because then there's the other Venn diagram of changing the rules to sell more product for Commander, aka the new vehicles. Legendary vehicles can be your Commander. Okay, let me break it down. Okay?
First of all, I like this change.
No, I think it's fine. I don't really care.
He despises it.
No, I don't despise the change rules-wise. I don't despise it gameplay-wise. I think it's actually kind of a neat idea, all right? Them being your Commander is inherently a downside because you have to have other creatures to make it work, okay? It's completely balanced. I don't care about that. What I care about is the social and economic and whatever ramifications this might have. Okay? For instance, the rule now is that any legendary creature, Planeswalker that says it can be your Commander, and legendary vehicle can be your Commander.
It's got to have the power toughness box.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
Which is totally fine, okay? Or it says can be your Commander, whatever, right? But that is fine, okay? Perihelion decks, sign me up. I might make one. I don't even care. My problem is it is exactly coming out to make people buy Edge of Eternities.
Well, I did, they were talking about doing this. A video came out from one of the designers of the cards, and they talked about...
Yeah, this set has been in development for 2 years.
For 2 years, right? And so they had this idea. They proposed it to the old...
Rules Committee.
Yeah. And then...
And they said no, probably.
No, they said they were on board for it.
Sure.
But the bannings came, dissolved the Rules Committee, and so... It looks like Wizards of the Coast is implementing this.
I don't know how much of that I care about. You know what I mean?
But like they were thinking about this for a while, so I don't think...
Yeah, and then thinking about it for a while makes me actually like it less.
Why?
Well, because that means they've been thinking about how to siphon more money from our pockets for a long time. And that's totally fine, all right? You're a business. I don't care.
Yeah.
But my problem is that they are making changes directly to sell more product, okay? I don't care who they talked to, how long it was in development, whatever. All of that aside... It is coming out in direct proportion to the fact that they're making a spaceship set so that they can sell more spaceship set, okay? And then eventually, of course, if this Universes Beyond thing gets even bigger, they've already done Lord of the Rings, they're going to get Star Wars eventually, probably, and you're going to be able to play Millennium Falcon as your Commander, and everybody wants that, okay? I don't care, dude. I don't care how cool it is that there are vehicles now. It's all just to sell product, okay?
Well, yeah, the Magic is a business.
Yes, but honestly, this wouldn't be so easy for them to, like, fuck with everything if they, like...
I think this opens up an entirely new design space for Commander in a way that will be more interesting having a vehicle, because now you have to care about your creatures having enough power to crew the vehicle. So it's interesting. I
mean, we've already seen Vehicle Commander. Yeah. Okay, it was... Shorikai, right? And that got... Exactly. You had to have enough power to crew it. I mean, you didn't crew Shorikai. But casual players did, okay? Yeah. My main thing is still the fact that this is all just because Commander is the main format. They are able to fuck with card prices and selling and all that stuff to a larger degree because they can leverage this exact idea of legendary creature and legendary this, legendary that, right? And then the second they make Planeswalkers legal, then they can make a Planeswalker set, and everybody will want to buy that even more because now the Planeswalkers can all be your Commander, you know, like... It's all just power creep, selling, blah, blah, blah. Here's a new rule that we may change to now that we have control of the format, okay? And that I don't like. It feels scummy. No matter how long they plan it out, if this goes well for them, then they can then do things that they might not have planned out, okay? Like the Planeswalkers, or what's another legendary thing? Legendary artifacts, okay? Like, ooh, legendary artifacts can be your commander, you know, whatever, all right? They can just, you know, what is it? Not the butterfly effect, but okay, like a cascading effect, right? Where they're just like, they're trying to, you know, break down the rules further and further to sell more product, and then eventually the commander format will suffer so much from that nobody will want to play it anymore, but...
Thank God.
Yeah, sure. Maybe this is what we want, but right now, I don't like it.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, you're always so happy about everything, Ian. I get it. Can you have a contrarian belief, please?
I mean, Mike, I am being contrarian to you, because...
Not to the average commander player.
The average commander player doesn't have joy in their soul.
No. They don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think this is cool. I think this is interesting. It's given...
No, okay, despite the rule change. We've already agreed it's a rule change, all right? That we don't give... We either don't give a shit about it or we actually like, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about everything else.
Everything else.
Yeah.
Look, it's... When Magic the Gathering does well, the players do well, right? Because the more...
I don't actually believe in that at all.
Not the more product they release, but the more they're able to print, the more accessible it is, the cheaper the prices of everything goes down.
That's the opposite of what's happening.
Supply and demand. Like, it's that simple.
That's literally the opposite of what's happening. They made the best-selling set of probably the last 2 years in Final Fantasy, and they hiked the prices up.
It's not Wizards of the Coast hiking the prices up.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is. It's what's happening.
It's not... You can't blame Wizards for something that... scalpers and game stores are doing. Like, you can argue that it is their fault for not printing enough, which is fair.
No. I'm not saying it's their fault for not printing enough or anything at all. What I'm saying is they are the ones choosing to put it at the price that they are putting it at, okay? You can blame scalpers if you want, and you can blame Wizards if you want. What it is the situation. I'm not blaming anybody. What I'm saying is I don't like what's happening, and it is all leading to more expensive product. It's leading to more cards being printed that are fuck shit boring.
You can say that you don't like something, but it's like,
well,
what are you going to do about it, right?
I can give you a solution.
Okay.
Put the prices so low that scalpers can't make any money.
But then they can't make any money.
Enough,
and I want Wizards of the Coast to be able to survive. Like, as shitty as the things that it feels like they're doing right now are, I would rather Magic be alive in a bad spot than Magic stop existing at all, because it's
Magic will never stop existing. The cards are out. What I'm saying is that while you are fine as long as it's not around, I am not fine. I am more than not fine, because I just want to be able to play the game. Okay? And they are going in a direction where it is getting harder and harder to enjoy playing the game. Okay? For instance, Commander being the #1 format, again, it makes it so that people, for some reason, have this stupid-ass social implication, okay? Biggest thing, okay, is the social implication, for me, at least.
The politics?
I don't mind politics. What I mind is people getting butthurt and having some weird superstition that makes them play like a dickhead, or where you're like, oh, this is the actual problem, maybe you should think about that, and then they just don't care, and they just fuck with, I don't know, one person because they want to, right? They can do that, but in the same vein, they shouldn't. They should play the game to win, you know?
I think that's more skill issue on their part, right?
No, yeah, absolutely. And Magic players, there'll always be bad Magic players and okay Magic players, okay? That's fine. What I'm saying is the bad Magic players are more and more each day. There's more plethora of them each day because of Commander, and there's no incentive to become a good player. Okay?
I think there is.
Well, if you can just politic your way into it, there's no reason to get good. And then they go into a real format where they can't use politics, and then they fucking cry about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did. There was this one player who came to a standard FNM and brought their... It was a 60-card version of their Assassin's Creed Commander deck.
Sure.
And
for Modern?
For Standard.
You can't play...
And none of those cards are legal in Standard.
Oh.
And so...
How long have they been playing? Did you get to ask?
They've probably only been playing for a year or so.
Yeah, exactly. And if you ask me, a year in playing Magic the Gathering, you should know rules by then. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you don't know the stack, or you don't know state-based effects, or you don't know, I don't know, But you should know the progression of the turns. You should know how to untap your permanents. You should not forget to draw on your turn as much. You know, some people still forget. I am included. Okay, what I'm saying is that you should have this basic knowledge of like, oh, I know what cards are legal in a format. You know? Because I was a kid when I first started playing Standard, and I did at one point show up with like a Swords to Plowshares or something in one of my decks for a Standard night. I was 9 years old, okay? That sounds like the guy you were talking about was not even a kid.
No, he was like a young adult.
Yeah. There is this weird thing with Commander now and Magic the Gathering because of it that people don't care about. Like, I'm not saying you should be a spike. Not everybody's a spike, okay? Enjoy your big creatures. Enjoy your dumb instants. Whatever. What I'm saying is there should be this incentive to not just be an idiot. Okay, because you ruin it for everybody else, okay? And I don't mean in the rules. You can be bad at playing all you want. What I'm saying is don't be that guy who doesn't understand what's going on and ruin it for everybody else, okay?
I mean, in that same vein, if you feel like you are that idiot, you
Ask
probably
questions.
aren't. Ask questions.
That's true. If you have the, like, if you're the kind of guy to get offended when I said that, you're the guy I'm talking about. You know what I mean? If you're like, oh, well, what if I want to be bad? No, nobody wants to be bad at Magic the Gathering. That's why we're playing it. I've never met somebody who isn't intrigued by the rules who I don't like. Okay?
And like that's where you get the freaks that build off-meta brews.
Yeah, the cool guys.
The Giga Chads that bring like, they are bad decks, right? Because they're not tier 1.
They still cook.
But they cook.
Yeah, they cook, bro.
They cook. They might win that like event or tournament because they brought something unique.
Yeah, I've met plenty of bad players. I mean, I'm a bad player. We're all bad at Magic. That's the thing. But I've met plenty of new, not good at Magic players who, as long as they're, when you say like, oh, that's against the rules, they're like, oh, and then they ask you why or how.
Yeah.
I've never met somebody like that who I don't like playing with.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't care how bad they are. If they're the kind of people to be like, oh, that's really neat. But the people I know I hate, or when I say, oh, that's against the rules, and then they think it's a personal attack on them.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, it's casual. And I'm like, yeah. It's a casual format in a game with very strict rules, my friend.
I understand it's we're casually playing Monopoly, but you cannot take $1,000 from the bank.
Exactly,
like,
right? I understand that it's casual, but don't put your tokens in the sleeve with the card you're using and then get offended when I say that's a marked card.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like, yeah, I get it's casual. You can't do that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I guess we're playing Monopoly with a family, but you can't buy all the places you want when the game starts.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, I want to play with more people, and
I love playing with new people.
There are a wonderful amount of new people that came from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, and just Commander in general.
Oh yeah, Commander in general. That are very inquisitive with the game. I think
very polite.
With that, we have our own recency bias with some players that are smelly.
Yeah,
they're smelly.
In more ways than one. We don't just mean. We mostly mean just like in their attitude and what, like, for instance, there is a influx in Gooner players.
Oh god.
Yeah, where they bring their hentai playmats to a family store, you know? Like, there will always be problems with a community.
Yeah.
I just think Commander is perpetuating a lot of it, okay? Yes, it brings in a lot of sweet, very nice players who are very intrigued with the game and their rules, and I appreciate that very much. That is the minority. That is by far the minority of new players brought in by Commander. But all the new players I've met that want to play Standard, like one of our friends, Big T.
Oh, yeah, Big T.
Okay?
Yeah.
All of those players who come in and they want to try out Draft and new formats and stuff like that aren't Commander, those people are the better players. They are the nicer people. They are the more interesting people, okay, to play with, all right? Big T likes to brew.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah.
But then all the people who play Commander, they just go onto EDH, right, click print, and then they come in and play and then get pissed off when you don't listen to their politics. And I fucking don't like that, okay?
It's too easy, like with Commander, not to make it sound like Standard or any other 60 card is hard.
Yeah.
Because you can do the same thing. You can neck deck, but there isn't
You'll still
that
lose.
Yeah.
Winning Magic the Gathering is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard to win a game of Magic the Gathering, okay?
Unless you keep one land.
And you win every time, baby. No. What I mean when I say it's hard to win Magic the Gathering, and I mean without breaking the rules, without while knowing what you're doing, playing your deck, what cards to tutor at the right time, you know, when to go for a win, how to play around counter spells. I could go on for hours, you know what I mean? And to do all of that and to win takes practice and time.
Yeah,
okay?
these are skills you learn as you play the game longer and with either more experienced players or players on your level.
And you learn together, whatever works for you, really. Okay, some people learn best when thrown into the deep end. Some people learn best when, you know, gradually going out into deeper and deeper waters. What I mean when I say that it is hard to win is that there are people who want to win so bad, but they don't fucking know how to play the game, and then they make it everybody else's problem. Okay, the whiners, the complainers, the screamers, the break other people's property. You know, like that last one is a very small number of people, but I've seen it happen 2 times. It's never happened to me personally, but I've seen it 2 times. Once was with like a reserve list dual land.
Oh Lord.
That I don't remember what the situation was, but there was somebody being mean to some guy, and that guy snapped, and he was like you know, oh, you know, give me that, blah blah blah.
Aww.
I have scremed at people playing Magic the Gathering before. I have gotten very angry. I'm a very temperamental man sometimes, and that's just. It's a problem. I'm working on it. But when I say I'm temperamental, that means, yes, there are tensions that rise and stuff. But usually when I see terrible things happen, they're so easy to avoid, okay? It's so easy for me to just not be that guy. It's so easy for the other person to not be that guy. You know, it's a fucking card game. Can we all just try and beat each other up in the card game?
In game?
And just do that and it not be a problem for some untold reason? Like, I'm not going to blame the command zone, but they perpetuate this idea of like playing the game to play the game instead of playing the game to win. And I don't have a problem with playing the game to enjoy the game. I have a deck where it's my Chromat 5-color stacks deck. I did not build that deck with the idea to win. Okay, my idea was to be an ass in the game because I like it. Okay, it's fun to build my pillow fort where nobody gets to play any cards, including me. You know what I mean? Like I play Stasis. Okay, cards
Lord.
Legal. Who gives a shit? Okay, if somebody's like, "Why are you playing that?" and I'm like, "It's a time walk."
It's
funny.
funny.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, and I didn't put that deck together to necessarily win, but a lot of people just concede because they don't want to play against it anymore, which is totally fine. I can do that if I want to. Okay, and this might sound like, you know, the me preaching about like what I want to be able to happen in Magic, but I also like when my opponents go for a cool way to win the game, or they learn something new, or they build a cool deck I've never seen before. All right, my least favorite thing is when I show up to a pot of Commander and everybody has a Commander and I already know what their deck does. Okay, you know, there's the Dragon Tribal guy, the Fairy Tribal guy, and the person who put together, I don't know, the Dragon. The Scion of the Dragon, whatever.
Dragon.
The Turd Dragon, yeah. And it's like, my favorite thing is when somebody shows up to the table and I go, "What's that?"
And it creates more interesting like play patterns because suddenly you don't necessarily know how to play against their deck.
I have won a lot of games.
Perfection.
Yeah, I've won a lot of games just by knowing what somebody's going to be doing.
Yeah.
And they just lose. And then they're like, "How did you do that?" You know?
Call it.
Yeah, it's not like, even that. It's just like I know the play pattern. You know? Like if I'm against Dragon Tribal, I know just kill every dragon. And then they're like, "Well, why'd you do that?" And I'm like, "Because you would have won on turn 5 if I didn't."
Exactly.
You know, like, and then they're pissed off that their dragon deck didn't get to do dragon things, but we would have all lost if I hadn't. You know, like I am a control player most of the times. I'm just saying that like there shouldn't be anything wrong with playing the game to win. Okay? Yes, there is something wrong with being an ass, all right?
Yeah.
You know, playing 3 games where you always single out one person every time, you know?
Yeah.
Unless they're like an annoying piece of shit.
Unless you're that's like the Voltron game plan too, right? So it's like, don't get mad at people for playing the game because they're gonna play the game.
Yeah.
If you're mad because somebody's deck is a certain way, maybe
you're the problem.
Maybe you're not the problem. Maybe just figure out how to get around it.
Maybe you are the problem for not trying to figure out how to get around it.
That is fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. Just like have a more, I think end note is maybe have a more like inquisitive mind when it comes to Magic the Gathering and Commander and all of its formats. Because if you do, you will enjoy it a lot more.
I think looking at Magic the Gathering and Commander and specifically as a game to play with a semi-competitive mindset in all forms of the game. Not necessarily like, I need to optimize my deck for every instance, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, if you want to build your Tier 2 deck, build it with the idea that nobody's going to let you do what you want to do, and your deck will be better and you'll have more fun.
You can be trying to win the game and casual at the same time.
Absolutely. Build your deck with restrictions. Build your deck with a mindset. Build your deck with a theme that isn't just Kindred, okay? Build your deck with like a game goal that isn't just, oh, I want to win with these cards. Build it with I want to win in this way with this pattern of plays and try to make that happen, you know? Like, Magic's really fun. Magic's really fucking fun, dude.
Man, when you listen to Magic players talk about it, it sounds miserable, though.
Yeah, and it is miserable sometimes, but it's not Magic's fault. It's usually the people you have to play with's fault, okay? And I have had some of the most fun games of my life where I'm playing stacks and my opponents have to figure it out, and then they beat me. Okay, that's the most fun because they're excited. They're excited that they found their way to get through my endless number of trap cards, basically, right? And figure a way to like piece out and get through it, right? And it's like a tug of war, and that's a lot of fun because I knew that was going to happen, and they knew it was going to happen, and we all signed up for this idea of like we're all going to go for this win, and they kicked my ass, not easily, and we all had a good time.
Oh yeah, I love those games where like. I'm playing my mono black deck, so I don't have ways to deal with artifacts. There's one card printed like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's $50.
Yeah, Gate to Phyrexia.
Yeah. And I just can't deal with certain things on board. However, if you make your political deals, like, that card's affecting them as well.
Yeah.
So, like, just say, I can't deal with this because of my deck. Maybe you can find an answer.
Yeah. And that's totally fine. Like, I even put in my Chromat deck, I put in Repay in Kind.
Repay in Kind?
Yeah, it sets everybody's life total to the lowest life total.
Oh, yeah.
So if everybody's beating me up, then I just go,
hell
now
yeah.
Everybody else is at 3 life. You all are dead. Just play around the idea of you always being the threat.
Yeah.
Okay? If you always have that idea in mind that you are going to be picked on for some reason, you'll have more fun because you'll be ready for it. Instead of just 15 ramp spells and 30 big idiots and then trying to figure out why you keep losing a magic. Just like, be cooler, dude. Just be cool. Be cooler.
And you can be cool.
You got this.
You got this.
You can be cooler. There's another part of that Venn diagram where it's like the competitive stuff and like the 11-hour game that's making everybody not want to play.
Oh yeah.
But don't worry about it.
I'm waiting for the CEDH cut. Okay, let's get that 11-hour video. I want to watch it. I don't know who else does, but I do.
I'll watch it. It's probably much more complicated than people are making it out to be.
No, I guarantee you it's that stupid. I hope it is that stupid.
No. I mean, like, people are like, oh, it's just, this is the problem. This is why I don't want to play CDH, because these games are this long. No, something happened to fuck with this game to make it 11 hours long. There's probably some bullshit that happened that, like, people, like, for some reason think they understand, but it's much more complicated. You know what I mean? Like,
thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys.
This has been the Thoughtcast, a Powerful Magic Poopcast.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And I've been your host, Ian.
Bye.
Bye.